Please welcome APS Chief Executive Officer Scott Steen.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the third annual American Physiology Summit. We're grateful that despite all that is going on in the world right now, that you've chosen to be here with us. We gather today as a community of biomedical researchers, educators, and innovators committed to discovery, health, and human progress. And we gather at a moment that feels markedly different from those that have come before. The atmosphere surrounding science, academia, and public trust and expertise is shifting, and not for the better. We're facing intensified scrutiny, shrinking funding, and the politicization of science. Public health infrastructure is being undermined, just as we are still reckoning with the lessons of a global pandemic. Research institutions are under tremendous pressure, and misinformation is not just spreading, it is being rewarded. These threats are not abstract, they are existential. There is a growing effort to devalue expertise, to sow distrust in peer review, to question the motives of researchers, and to dismiss the slow collaborative process of discovery as elite or irrelevant. Science is being rebranded not as a public good, but as a partisan tool. Regardless of your personal politics, that should alarm every single one of us. We are witnessing erosion across the spectrum, from the silencing of government scientists, to cuts in critical research programs, to new barriers to international collaboration, student visas, and the free exchange of ideas. Words that reflect the diversity of our nation and the scope of our scientific inquiries are being erased from government websites. At some institutions, entire programs related to climate science, reproductive health, or pandemic preparedness are being eliminated or quietly buried. This is not just about budgets or bureaucracies. It's about the kind of society we want to live in and the kind of future we want to build for the next generation of scientists. For many in our community, these threats are not only professional, they are deeply personal. Our members from historically underrepresented backgrounds are carrying a dual burden: the persistent challenges of equity in science, now compounded by a rising tide of hostility. Initiatives to expand opportunity, to foster inclusion, and build belonging are being dismantled in real time. Faculty are being silenced. Grants supporting critical health research, especially work focused on women, racial and ethnic minorities, and LGBTQ people, are being canceled, often without scientific justification. That is not merely a policy debate, it's a moral one. We know disease does not affect all groups equally. A scientific community that fails to reflect the diversity of our society is not only unjust, it is incomplete. Innovation thrives when a broad range of experiences and perspectives are at the table. You in this room have dedicated your lives to the pursuit of truth through evidence. That mission doesn't become less urgent when it's under attack. It becomes more essential. But we cannot assume our institutions or our ability to conduct free and open research will simply endure. They must be defended. They must be actively sustained. This is not the moment for silence or neutrality. It is a moment for clarity, for solidarity, and for resolve. We owe that to our students. We owe it to the patients waiting for cures. We owe it to the public whose health depends on a scientific enterprise that they can trust. And we owe it to ourselves. These are, without question, extremely challenging times for science, for physiology, and for academia in the United States. Federal support for biomedical research is being slashed. often abruptly and without explanation. Indirect costs to research institutions are being gutted, threatening the infrastructure that sustains discovery. And although some of these cuts have been temporarily delayed by court orders, the long-term outlook remains deeply uncertain. At the same time, the scientific consensus is being undermined, not by data or by new insights, but by political forces and public voices unmoored from evidence. Conspiracy theories and ideology are replacing experimentation and peer-reviewed research. In this environment, a different kind of leadership is required from all of us, and from APS in particular. It's no longer enough for us to rely on just providing individual member benefits. We must become a stronger, more visible advocate for the discipline of physiology itself. And we must do so in a climate of limited resources. First, we must redouble our commitment to scientific excellence. To that end, APS has convened a task force of some of the nation's leading scientists, including Nobel laureates and National Academy members, to offer recommendations that will elevate excellence across our organization. This work will not only refine our standards, but help us better engage outstanding scientists who may not yet be part of our community. Their recommendations will be presented to our board of directors this summer. Our commitment is also reflected in our publishing strategy. Last year, we launched Subscribe to Open, and within the first year, every one of our journals met their goals. That means more scientific content is now openly accessible with no added cost to authors, a major step forward for both visibility and equity in publishing. We remain equally focused on realizing the full potential of Function as our keystone research journal, just as Physiological Reviews stands as our premier reviews journal. From the start, Function was envisioned as the field's leading research outlet. While we're not quite there yet, that goal is more important than ever. A strong discipline needs a trusted central journal. We're making new investments and refining our approach to make that vision a reality. Second, we must expand our advocacy efforts. It's no longer enough for us to publish or present findings. We must defend science itself. In recent months, APS members have sent nearly 2,500 messages to Congress advocating for science funding. And just yesterday, more than 70 of our attendees of this meeting, including our board and other leaders, took that message directly to Capitol Hill. This is just the beginning. This year, we will dramatically step up our advocacy efforts, both on our own and in collaboration, to defend research, academic freedom, and our shared values. And finally, we must elevate physiology within the broader scientific landscape. We must make the case through compelling stories, clear strategy, and excellent science that physiology is not just relevant, it is essential. To support this, the APS board has just approved a groundbreaking national communications campaign. In the coming weeks, we will bring on a leading public affairs firm to help reshape how the world sees physiology. Their work will include crafting powerful stories about your impact, securing media coverage, and launching a digital plan that reaches policymakers, funders, scientists, and the public. This will be one of the boldest efforts APS has ever undertaken. And it's exactly what this moment demands. I am not a scientist, but I've had the extraordinary privilege of spending much of my career alongside scientists, supporting their work, learning from their passion, and doing everything I can to help sustain the ecosystems that make discovery possible. And I can tell you this, I have never seen a moment quite like this one. But I believe deeply that we will not be defined by the forces working against us. We will be defined by how we respond to them. Now is the time to act with focus, with urgency, and with unity. Every one of us has a role to play. Whether you're at the bench or in the classroom, whether you are a seasoned investigator or you're just beginning your career, you are part of something larger than yourself. And APS is here to support you. Years from now, I hope when we look back, I hope we'll say, this was the inflection point. This was when we chose to meet fear with integrity, when we stood up for science, for truth, and for each other, when we built something stronger, not in spite of the pressure, but because of it. This is the legacy that we need to build together. Thank you.